Hello devs, welcome to Orinda tutorial. Today I'm going to be talking about Vue.js, and many people have told me that this is one of the easiest frameworks to learn. I've tried it a bit, so I'm going to try to figure out 1, 2, 3 using React concepts and trying to apply them in Vue.js, as we try to see out what's the difference and what makes it really that easy. As we know, in React we have so many things moving around, and there are many complicated frameworks trying to maybe just solve a given problem. Like next, we have the turn stack also doing other things on the side, and there are just a lot of things built on top of React. So I know Vue communities, it's big, but not so much out there. So I think we'll just need to get into it. So let me just open up my browser and I can just search Vue.js. So if I come to Vue.js, what we'll be having here is we have Vue progressive that. So we'll click on quick start. Then on the quick start, let me just change this to light theme so that it's quite clear. Okay, so when you get to this page, you'll see we have different ways of creating that application, and we also have a playground on top here. So we have there are two Vue APIs. So that is, we have the composition and the options API. So with the options, that was the Vue 2, old Vue 2, and with the composition, that is the new Vue 3. So I think the options way was more JavaScript oriented, and the composition now brought the TypeScript power into Vue.js, and I think that's why most people are pushing for this. I will just try to see how they've structured out these pages. We start from the quick start, which is the installation and creation of a project. Then we have creating an application, template syntax, reactivity, fundamentals. We have computed, class, we have bindings, list rendering, event handling, form input, binding, lifecycle hooks, watchers, and these are the ones. So I think we will just try to see the simpler parts, and maybe I'll try to capture those are the complex parts of Vue.js in later series, but we can, without opening our IDE, we can just try with the Vue playground. Just open this in a new tab. So with this playground, we get VS Code like editor, which is I think I don't need to set up anything locally, so let me just zoom it out a bit. So if I check this tsconfig, then I can adjust this side. So in here we have app.vue, that is like the starter code, but if you check on this is using the old way. So I think, is there where to switch? Let me switch to Vue 3.4. Okay, so I'll be using this version, or latest version. So this is the old way of rendering. So we have let me try format. Okay, So with this, we have the template section and we have the script section. So the script section is where now you write a JavaScript, and the template section is where now you write your HTML. So we'll just clean this and see what we have. We can start from scratch. Just to test, you can just miss even the scripts and still this should work. You can see it's very reactive. So you can see it's very reactive. So this is one of the key selling points of Vue.js. It's a reactive framework, and its reactive nature is one of the reasons why people love it. Okay. So with this, we have like 3 sections where you write your markup, you write your script, and you write your stylings. So with your stylings, you can, if you want to style something, you can just have a style. Then with this style, you can say, if you make it scoped, that means it will be simply available within this component, and if you eliminate the scoped, it will affect even other components. So if I reactivate this, let me just say here h1, let me say color red, then you can see automatically this turns red instantly. So just tone it down. So from here, then we can try look for something more like Vue theme. Not sure why that's not changing, but you get the idea. So from here, now we can activate this. Then we can just declare a variable. Let's say const name is equals to Felix, and with this you'll get an error, cannot redeclare block scope variable name. Okay, so what we need to do here, say just maybe first name, first name is that. Then if I come here, so for us to, like, if you want to showcase JavaScript in Vue.js, you use double curly braces. Then so let's say just first name. So with this, you'll see we will get an error, so we can't really access it directly, because if you have scripts plainly like this, that means we are still using the options API. So for us to convert this now to TypeScript, then now that means we'll need to change this to TypeScript safe, and using now this latest, which is the composition API. So using the composition API, we can just write here setup, and immediately you can see it has picked. So this now makes it like you just write like you're writing normal JavaScript without having to nest things in objects and pass things here and there. So this is normal variable declaration in Vue.js, but Now if you want the reactivity nature of it, there are bindings that we need to use. So I'll just make this TypeScript. You just write language, then for that language it will be TS. So you can also write TSX, but changing the language to TS doesn't change a thing. So the next thing is to try figure out how to, so let's say Felix, I have maybe first name, maybe last name is equals to Juma. Then we have last name. Then you can see everything is in check. So you can see we have this. So I can have this in a span. Then I can say h1 span, maybe color green. Then we can just style it text decoration underline. So you can see with this we already have a way to set up variables, show them in the screen, and also style them. So that's how easy it is to just start off with Vue.js. So another thing maybe I'll touch on. So now if now you're going to, because Vue should be really reactive, so to activate its reactive nature, there are two ways of declaring those variables. So one is either reactive, or you can have let's say creating an application. They have their way here, so I won't go over this. Won't be going over this. So template. So going through the template, you'll see text interpolation. So you can see we have a span, and in here you just put variable name. So the variable name which is in the script section, you just put it here, or you can write a JavaScript expression within these braces. We also have the mustache and interpret the data in plain text. So these are for, let's say, things like you have a WSGI editor. So a WSGI editor, let's say, what's a WSGI? What you say is what you get, editor. So what you say is with, okay. Let me try Quill. So a WSGI editor is like a rich text editor where you apply these normal these styles just from your editor and do 1, 2, 3. So with this you have something like this where you have all these all over the place. So whatever gets out of here, you can place it in this, and it should be able to convert those directives to raw HTML. So the and whatever is got from this point is what is translated using this raw HTML part. So these are called bindings, but I think we'll talk about them. Bind ID, we'll talk about these ones later. So yeah, I think up to there we have basic HTML in Vue. So next thing, if now you want to maybe do inline style, style is usually done just the normal way you write in HTML. So you can write inline styles. Let's say I wanted to, let's say font family. I'll just say, yeah. Okay. I don't have railway, so cursive. Yeah. So I think cursive works. Then you can just add as many as you want, but it's the normal way in which you just write your HTML. So if you want classes, these attributes are just the same as the way now you write your HTML attributes. So from here, now I think the biggest thing, if now we check on React.js, maybe concepts, no, let's go to React. Okay, this is the old React, but there was something about this documentation that was quite interesting. So they started how to get your hello world, introducing JSX, rendering elements, components and props, states and life cycles, handling events, conditional rendering, list and keys, forms, lifting state, composition and inheritance, then thinking in React. So I think we have done a better part using the hello world, introducing JSX. On this other end, we're just using normal template, the template syntax for Vue.js, where on this end, if we check on introducing JSX, on this end we use a single curly brace, while on this end we use double curly braces. So there's not much that is changing here, and as you can see, the JavaScript section was, this is quite outdated, but we had a function, and just above the return is where now you are now to, I don't know where we can get one. Is this React? Yes. So there's this new React. Let's learn React. So there's this new approach which is now more of functional, which are stateless. But if you come here, you'll see before the return you can declare variables. Just above here you write your things there. So in Vue.js, what happens is now everything dealing with JavaScript has to be done in the script section. Then now if you want to render it here, you'll have to interpolate in this manner. So let's check here what's the next concept. So rendering elements. So rendering elements is just showcasing elements to the UI. So I think that part we have done using the h1 here. If I wanted a p I don't know whether emmet is working here. There is no emmet, so I can have my p, then lorem 20. Then it should just work out of the box. So leaving this aside, if now we move to this other end, you'll see the next thing is having component and props. So with components and props, I think now that's where mostly things start getting complicated here and there. So I'll try from this end. Now let's start now making this project reactive. So let's say we have maybe a list of people. So const people is equals to, so you'll say ref. So this ref should come from Vue here. You import ref from Vue. Then now you can pass your type. So you can say in between here. So this is the TypeScript way, but I can just still write it in the JavaScript always. So it doesn't matter whether you have to write in TypeScript or JavaScript, but I just like writing in TypeScript so that you make everything type safe. So if you want to maintain it in JavaScript, you can just remove that part, but it will still work. But if you love TypeScript, you can just retain that language as TypeScript. So let's say I have people. So these people, they have maybe first name, which is maybe Mike. Then maybe we have name and maybe age. Age will be maybe 12. So with this age, I can have maybe several, maybe Jen Doe, who's maybe 18. Then this one will move to 16, 15. Then you can also have another person of Sam Smith, who's maybe 21. And we have our famous John Doe, who's maybe 21, 22. So with this, we have people who are, let's say we have people. So Mike Tyson, so I have Mike Tyson. So Vue in its own way, let's say I wanted to render people. If I just remove this, then add a main here, then if I paste this one will just be a normal string. If now I put this, still it will be a normal string. But now if I wrap again with those double mustache syntax, you'll see Vue usually it stringifies the object. So in React this is not possible. If let's say I have this same thing here, if I pull this over to React, this won't work. Reason being, React So if I just pull this over, it won't work. So let me try say people, then you see everything goes blank. So let's say if you have that, then it will tell you object valid React child. So if you meant to render collection of children, use array instead. So that's for React, but in Vue.js they usually convert this to string, so you don't get that kind of error. So next thing is to now how do we now show this data? So we'll try to skip some of these points, but I think I'll handle all of them. So we go to list. So with the list, meaning I have this array. So from this array, I want to show the people maybe in a list. So how we handle arrays in Vue.js is quite different. So you'll have your, let's say, a div, but instead of map, we use a for loop. So we use a syntax in this format, v4. So for this v4, what it does, it's just like a for each loop, where you say maybe person, for person of people, we can just render maybe person. Then you'll see we have the people listed here. So once we have these people shown here, the next thing is to maybe have something like a condition to maybe say if you are underage, below 18, then it should mark you as red, and if you are maybe show adults, or only show those who are not adults. So how we do that, that is now conditions, but I'm trying to look at how can we do this. We can have an input which marks to show whether someone is an adult or not. So we can have this in a table, or okay, let's have this in a table, w3 schools table. So just try it yourself, copy the all of this, then move here. Oh, okay, got it. So once I've moved that, I can come here and extract this table and put it in here. Then you can see we have this table. So how we are going to, we have the name, so we'll convert this to name, then from name we have age, then the rest we can just remove. So I will only remain with a single table row. So So with this single table row, we only need maybe two. So from here, if I use to the other side where we do a map, instead of map here we do a for loop. So what we'll write here is v for so just remember that I'm just writing going through the concepts here, and maybe I'll try to now break down this into maybe smaller concepts. So if now we want to show this data to the user, we'll just do a v for person of people. Then here we need to have a key. So a key, we can use this key directly, but because we need to do there's something known as data binding. So what we do with data binding is assigning binding JavaScript value to an attribute. So in React we have the attributes, so those attributes you can always spread, but in Vue majorly the spread doesn't work so well. So what you do here is you do a binding. So for this key, for you to bind, you can write like v bind, then you write key. So when you write v bind key, then it will have to take something from the person, and you can see it's now type safe. So for this I will just write person dot name. So this is now to tell Vue that this is one of the unique things you can use to identify these elements. So if you have new maybe state changes, this is how you're supposed to handle it. So from this end, you can also extract out something. So let's try have row numbers here. I'll have it as hash. Then from the hash, then we can have this. So with that, we'll have to write here, let's say index, then I can have index here. Then you can see now it picks the index. So this now will just work as the normal JavaScript for. So if I needed to extract, so let me start with the long way. So I can say person dot name. Then you can see now we have Mike Tyson, Jane Doe, Sam Smith, and John Doe. And for this we'll add just one, so that it starts from 1. Then we can clear this and have person dot age. Then I'll remove this. So basically with this you can see we already have our table and the loops. So let me now go to whatever reason why React is called reactive is because no, Vue is called reactive is because its data is usually bound to either an input or whichever place it's written, and that really makes it a bit faster in having input, watching for states. So another thing you can use out of this is let's say you need to know how many adults do we have. So if you need to know how many adults we have, we can use something known as computed. So computed is more of a method where you pass a callback, and maybe that callback looks at a given data, then process it to give you like a given result. So let's see how to work with that. So we can import computed. So with computed, I can say I need to get maybe those who are number of people who are adults and number of people who are not adults. So I can write here const maybe user, let me just call it user stats, remove that. So const user stats will be a computed. So with that computed, we pass a callback function, which now will, what it will do is now it will, I will use something here known as maybe type user stat, which will be maybe adults number and maybe children number. So this will help us here in the computation. So I'll just run people dot. So when you're using refs, for you to access a value within a variable means you need to use the dot value property. So you can't just access it directly, so you have to use the dot value to access it. So you can see if now I go to user stats, I can just write it just above here, h1. Okay. So just above here I can write a div, then this one class, maybe we have margin. Okay, since we are not using Tailwind, class maybe container, class container, then we can have that container bflex, can have it as flex direction, which will be column, then we can have maybe a gap of 20 pixels. Okay, so from here now we can have our div and say maybe h1 stats. So when you say stats, then now I can have user stats. So with this you can see it's giving us all the users that are displayed here, but this is not what we expected. So I'll run something, a reduce function, which now will be taking user stat. Okay, so this will take user stat, then we can call this AC, so that is our accumulator, then this is the current. Then now what we'll need to do here, so this will be our initial state, but we return if, okay, we'll just say return accumulator. Just write it the long way. Then after returning that, we'll just say if current dot age may be greater than 18, we with accumulator dot this accumulator will assign to adults plus is equals to 1, else we say SC adults, maybe children, plus is equals to 1. So then we can have this as the initial here, 0, 0. Okay, so let me see where I did a mistake. This is here. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. What's the issue here now? So there's something. Okay. Yeah. So I missed the quotation there. But now if I have user stats, you can see we have 2 children and two adults. So this is now where the computed properties are usually very important. So this isn't that much at the moment, but now if I add an input where now we can add new user to this table, I think that will now make sense. So we can create a variable here known as const maybe user, maybe person, it should be a ref. This will be a type of will have a name, which will be a string, and age, which will be a number. So once we have that, what we'll do about it is we'll have a function const add new user, new person. This is person. It should be that function that will check the state, and now this should be an equal. Then because it's an arrow function, that's how you do it. Then we'll just check if person dot age person dot value, that is dot age, if not, or not person dot value dot name. Then we can just alert username, please provide user inputs. Then we return. Otherwise we just push the, we can say this, okay, people dot value dot push. We push that new person dot value now. So afterwards, then now we can reset state of the person dot age value dot age will be 0, and person dot name dot value dot name will be an empty string. So up to there we have add new person method here, and what this will do, we'll call it to push to this state. Then now our user should now be watching. Then now from there we can extract some of these and start using, let's say we can now start using maybe other components for this. But for now, let's just extract, let's just put it here. So we can have something known as user form. So we can have a form just above here. So with an input, let me see, W3 school inputs, forms. Try it yourself. So we have our form here. So we have the label, we won't need the action. Then we have first, we'll have this as name, maybe name. Then this will be name, maybe John Doe. That's valid. Then we have age, which will be a number, and we have this input type submit. So what I can have here is to have some resets, star before, star after, padding 0, of 0 also. Then we have box sizing, we have it as border box. I think that should do. Should have most of these things in check. Then we can have our main, maybe padding of maybe 10px should not be bad. Yeah, so I think that's in place. So the concept here is we need to add a person from here. Then we can have our form to have maybe border, maybe 1 pixel, solid black, then padding of maybe 2 pixel, 4 pixel, not that bad. So we need to submit this, and you can see the address does not look right because it's the normal form. So we'll have this form now have something attached to this. So this is a new person. We can add here an event which extends event type. Then we can just have in this form as at. So the things known as v on. So v on maybe submit, v on submit, we call add person, add a new person. Okay, I think I don't know. I'm not sure how to restart this. Let me just copy all of this code and reload that page. Okay, what happened here? So I'll just copy this and refresh this page. Oh, okay. So I haven't lost the code. So what I will do at this point is to eliminate so many. Okay, this 2 extra BRs. So I have this submit. So the short form for this, so instead of v on we can just have at which now points to the event, at submit. Then you have that. Then now in React we have something like e.prevent default, e.stop propagation. So those ones you can just add here. So if you add something like prevent, that should prevent this page from reloading. So you can see person.value is undefined. Okay, so we need to find a way of binding the person to. You can just have this as age to be 0 because that was bringing issues with undefined. So we can just collapse the style section because it's not quite important now. So what we'll do is to extract from this point. If we submit, then you can say please provide user inputs, meaning it's picking whatever is there. So we need a way to make these inputs know that this is where the person is, where they are referencing. So what you'll do, you can, in this we remove the value part, we can retain the name and the ID. So what we add here is what is known as binding. We can use vbind, we vbind vmodel. So we can use vmodel. So vmodel now points to a given value in the script section, but now this model, now we can bind it to person dot name. So nice thing with the Vue is that in the section where now we have JavaScript, now we don't use the dot value, but when you are in here you must use the dot value to access that state. But in the markup you can just pass it directly. So let's do that for the input. This other one also, and this one will be age. So I don't know what have I changed here that has broken everything. So pick this, let's say age. So when we have those ones set up in that manner, what happens is if I submit, you can see provide user input. Then if I say maybe Janet Wandera, then age to be maybe 34, 35. If I submit, you'll see okay, so it should be, so it has submitted 0. Let's see where, let's remove these ones for now. Let's just remove those ones for now. Then okay, I know why. So let's submit something like can submit the 34, submitting something else, and maybe let me just confirm what's going on here. People, so people, let's say submit can, age of maybe 12, submit. We have this name, so it's submitting just the name and no age. Interesting. So this should be number. Then make submit. Why is it? So I don't know why this is behaving. It's behaving weirdly. Inspect. We can log the person. Person. Well, so console, zoom in. Okay, submit. Then you'll see we have this target object name is that. Interesting. Okay. So that event is not that important then. Let me see if that's what. Okay. Let me see person. Let's see why. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we have this. And it's so weird how, let's say, so let's add maybe can age of 2, submit. Yeah. So now it resets well. I think the way we're doing the reset was not proper. So we have Ken, and you can see age of 2, and now you can see we have 3 children. So if maybe I want to add another person, maybe Hans Waika, then have it as maybe 45, then submit. You'll see now we have 3 adults, and if I have maybe Tony who is maybe 32, submit, you'll see it's very reactive. Now we have 32, and now we have 4 adults. So you can see now the power of having we have the stats here, and also we have this other side here. So what happens is, maybe I don't want this form to be here, I want it to be somewhere isolated. So that now will call for something known as we now extract whatever we have here to a different component. So that will bring us to, we've done so a bit of state, a bit of event handling, and we've done this, and we've done forms. Conditional rendering we haven't done. So in the conditional rendering, what I might maybe do is to we can have a state here, maybe show all, maybe show adults. Maybe, okay, let's just call it users to show, which will be ref. It's either adults or maybe children, but this will be an array, so you can say show type show type. So this will be this, then you can have an array of that here, then you have just an empty array. So what we can have with this is to just say we'll also have another computed const users shown, which will be a computed so for this computed we'll just check if what conditions are we supposed to be checking. If adults, if we check if show type users to show dot value dot sum just dot filter let's say show type will just be just one, then we have it as undefined, so show type dot value and show type this is equals to if that, when we check user type is equals to let's see, okay, from here, now we can have just people dot value. If this, if user to show dot value, then user dot to show dot value is equals to adults, then we do a filter of people dot value dot filter let me just so people if adults, then now we can have this in the form that maybe person and person p dot age is greater than 18. Then from this point, then now we can try to check and see we filter if that age is that, otherwise what's here. So else if person, okay, we have these conditions here. So if this is children, then now we do a filter less than, greater than, or equal to, yeah. Then so if we have this, then we show, otherwise okay, let me just check this. We can have that. So users to show, we check if we have adults. If we have adults, then we only filter out those who are adults, otherwise we just return the normal users who are shown. So with that, we can now come and replace this one here, and it should still behave the same. So I can have maybe an input here. We have a label of maybe people. Then now I can have input so we can have name, which will be maybe people. Then we can bind it to bind to users to show. So type will be radio, and you can say value. So this value will be bound to users to show. We can bind this to adults. So let's say this adult. So if I click on this, should switch to adults, and next just maybe name people, user to show, children, and then children. So if you have children, select whichever we select, should automatically switch. But seems like this is not working. So let's see how to build. So check on Vue.js radio input. So in the meantime, I'll have to add another component here. Let's call it form. Person, call it person form. So for this person form, I will just need to take this form part and put it in here. Then you can see we have we now don't have access to that form. So next is to now pull this data of person. Need these two, and put it here. So now we are creating a new component. Then we can run a learn ts. So we can import the ref here. So we can just turn this on this other end so that we can use it to have a person, which now will be expecting. Let's just have it as any for now. So at this point, for us to use this person form, we need to define some things here known as props. So that's now we are on props, components and props. So if you come here where you define props, in here you just say define props. Define props, or there's a way you can have props with defaults. So with the defaults, so you can have like with the defaults, then define props. So here you can have maybe with the defaults. So here now you pass the defaults, but from here we have what do we need here? We need a way to maybe submit this form, and what we'll need from the other side is a function to call the add a new person. So what we'll need is so in React we can pass function as a prop, but here we'll need to call something known as a meter. So let's we already bound this to this other side, so let's see how to set it this other side. So we can just call person import person form. So if you have person form where you can render this, usually you can use kebab casing or the cascade. So I like the kebab person hyphen form, then you can just self close it, and you can see that form is here still. So I don't know whether we move the user stats on this other end. I think that is the case here. You can return that here. So I have user stats and still behaving the same way. I'm not sure if we have type radio. So let me just move with this. Users to show. Users to show. Then here is children. Then here we have adults. So we can have maybe 2 adults. Then you have children. So if I select on adults, you'll see okay, this is children, and here we have adults. Then we can have something like all. Not sure if this will work. All, this as all. So if you select all, it should default. Check adults, only adults. Select children, only children, and all should show everyone here. So that's how you can do your binding, and you can see how now this is a very reactive table. So let's go with all, and from here you'll see at the moment there's nothing we can call from here. So we come back to this person form, then we add something known as an emitter. So for the props, I might maybe say we can pass this person as props, then now we just have the form. So if I have this person on this other end, if I have that this person on this other end, then I need to maybe define a way in which that data will be on this other side. So maybe I say first name or what have you, but just retain it here for convenience. So let's define what will be submitting this form. So on this other end, we'll what will we need? A way. So this one will need to reset on this other end, so we can just try the normal way. So there's no props currently, so we can define something known as define emits. So define emits has this is now how we now emit events. Okay, So this now we emit events. So you can have it in this format, either in, let's say, submit form. So if I say submit form, then on this end I can say at emit, then submit form. Okay, so if now I do a submit on this form, we call this emit, but it calls this submit form. Then after submitting, then on this other end you'll see we have in this submit form we can have now at submit form. So now that custom event is carried to this side, and we can now pass our add new person function. But that add new person function, whatever it does, it needs to reset this person state which is not existent here. So we can just extract this and maybe worry about it later. So let's say Juma Alan, maybe 25, then submit. See, person is undefined. So at this point, meaning we don't have a person, so this person, what will happen is we get back here, then in our define emit, there are two ways. If we come to emitting events, so okay, there's this, you can have this array, or there's a better, okay, so there's one, then there's this syntax. So I think this is one of the syntaxes I like, so I'll just copy this, then bring it this other side, then can have at submit form. So when I submit form, you can extract this to type person, which will be that. List, then your person here. But whatever we emit now will require maybe a new person who is a person, but it's a void, then we don't need this. Okay, then from this now we pass person, so now we just pass the person here. So with that, that means if we have this on this other end, this one also will be a person. Okay, so we don't need the dot value because that value is passed directly. So say Juma Alan, then we say 25, submit. Then you can see we can be able to still submit this on this other end. So that's how you can define events and emit using Vue.js, and you can see it's really simple. So if you had like maybe a stateless emission, then now you could just so okay, So with the, I don't think if I have anything to deal with the props at the moment, but what I can do, I can add a component here, then name it maybe person, maybe row or table. So when we have this person table, we take this at the end and extract this table, extract that, push it in here. Then we'll need maybe we'll just call it. So this will be a type safe. So let me just show you how to make that type safe, or it can be generic. So begin that person, then we can call generic maybe we call it person, this person which exists here. Then we can just come and check here with view generic. So generics. So you can see we have lang ts, then you can pass generic of t. Okay, so I don't think if we'll use that here, but can have lang ts, then now should be able to pick. But let me just extract this and just remove all that. Now that's not necessary at the moment. So what we need is a person. So we can, okay, what's going on here? Okay, ts, then we remove the generic side. So once we have this, next what I can put here is we have people which we need to show. So we can define props, which is you can either use, there are three approaches. There's one with the defaults, there's one with no defaults, which requires you to add some values. But if you go this way, then now you need to be explicit on those extra types. That I'll go the TypeScript approach, which will be person, let's say data, which will be person, okay, person array. So with this, we'll need to remove this one. Then now we have this data to show here. Then it will still behave the same way. From here I can now import person table, to this at the end. Can import person table, remove that. Then you see we have person table, yeah. So I'll remove this dot view, then have it as p -t, remove the view section of it, and should tell you missing required prop data. So because we have learned about data binding, so here you just add dollar, so this not dollar but, so we can use vbind, we add data, so we can bind vbind data. So what are we binding? We're binding data to user, users shown. So with the users shown, we bind to data. So you can see if we change to adults, it's still behaving just normally the way the other one was behaving. And if you add maybe Ryan, who is maybe 2 years old, still behaving the same way, and the reactive nature of it is still there and intact. So we've seen how you're binding data, we have seen how you extract to components. But now if I wanted a way to, maybe this short form of this is to just have this colon, then we pass the data. But we can also override this other side with you can have with defaults, we pass our props. Then now how Vue usually behaves is you'll have data, then that data you define a function which now returns an empty array. So this is usually the recommended way for having a default values. You can have maybe a loading state and unloading state, and that should be able to do this for you. So I think I've tackled major parts of what you can use Vue, and form input binding, adding, extracting to components, and maybe I haven't tackled lifecycle hooks, but I think that will now be next thing. We've done a bit of the native just the normal thing. I think next time now we'll now move from here and now take it to, from this point now we'll set up something locally, then now start building on the same. I know this was just online tool, so we can just try one locally, and so at this point if I remove this one and come back to data table, we can have this as optional. So if I mark it as optional, then that means it's not mandatory to be provided, then it will default to this. So if maybe I add maybe one, it will show there, it will show there. If I add another one, it will also show there. But being that now we're just passing empty so that it doesn't error out, it's just okay. So I think maybe this was this will help someone somewhere to get started with Vue.js, and hopefully you learned a thing or two. If now you are extracting components, setting up your forms, and working with events in Vue.js. So that has been my time. Let's meet in the next video.